Have you ever heard of a place where young maidens sleep with tourists as a tradition? Welcome to another exciting episode on my channel, where we uncover the most unique and intriguing cultures around the world. Today, we're diving into the heart of Tibet, a land where ancient customs blend seamlessly with breathtaking natural beauty. From the high peaks of the Himalayas to the serene Buddhist monasteries, Tibet offers a journey like no other. We'll explore the fascinating practice of fraternal polyandry and meet the resilient nomads of the plateau. Plus, we'll uncover the cultural significance behind these surprising traditions. So, prepare your luggage and get ready for an adventure that will leave you inspired and amazed. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more incredible travel stories. Let's get started. 1. Fraternal polyandry. One of the unique cultural features in Tibet is the fraternal polyandry system, a unique marital arrangement where a woman marries multiple brothers. This custom, rooted in economic and social needs, adds complexity to Tibetan society. Historically, this practice has helped to keep family lands intact and undivided, preserving economic stability and reducing the risk of impoverishment in harsh environmental conditions. Additionally, polyandry strengthens family bonds by minimizing conflicts over inheritance and promoting collective responsibility. Despite its decline due to modernization and changing social norms, polyandry remains a fascinating example of how cultural practices adapt to ecological and economic demands. 2. Nomadic herders. Exploring the lives of nomadic herders, this highlights their seasonal migration patterns and traditional black tents made from yak hair. It showcases the resilience and adaptability of these communities. These nomads, known as drokpa, migrate between summer and winter pastures to ensure their livestock, primarily yaks, sheep, and goats, have access to the best grazing lands. The yak hair tents, known as ba, are expertly crafted to withstand the severe weather conditions of the Tibetan plateau, providing insulation against the cold and protection from strong winds. The nomadic lifestyle is deeply intertwined with Tibetan culture, involving traditional practices such as the production of yak butter and cheese, weaving, and the breeding of livestock, which are central to their economy and way of life. 3. Buddhist monasteries. A dive into the serene world of Tibetan Buddhist monasteries, detailing the ancient spiritual practices and wisdom of the monks. Monasteries such as the Jokhang Temple and Sera Monastery serve as spiritual, educational, and cultural hubs. Monks engage in daily rituals, including chanting, meditation, and intricate sand mandala creations, which symbolize the impermanence of life. These monasteries also play a vital role in the preservation and teaching of Buddhist philosophy, hosting debates and discussions that challenge monks to deepen their understanding. Festivals like the Monlam Prayer Festival bring together monks and laypeople in communal prayers and celebrations, reinforcing the social and spiritual fabric of Tibetan society. 4. Geographical significance. Tibet's immense geographical and spiritual significance is highlighted, including its high elevation and the resulting physiological adaptations of its people to low oxygen levels. Sitting on the world's highest plateau, with an average elevation of 4,900 meters, 16,000 feet, Tibet is known as the roof of the world. The thin air at these altitudes has led to unique physiological adaptations among Tibetans, such as increased lung capacity and a higher concentration of nitric oxide in their blood, which helps to improve oxygen delivery throughout the body. This ability to thrive in low oxygen environments is crucial for survival in Tibet's harsh climate. The region's vast landscapes, including the towering Himalayas, deep valleys, and pristine lakes, contribute to its mystical allure and spiritual significance, drawing pilgrims and adventurers alike. Tibet's role as the source of major Asian rivers, such as the Yangtze, Yellow, and Brahmaputra, underscores its ecological importance, supporting the livelihoods of billions of people downstream. 5. Biodiversity. Tibet's unique wildlife, including the Tibetan antelope and the iconic yak, is described, along with the ancient practice of breeding Tibetan mastiffs for protection against predators. The Tibetan antelope, also known as the chiru, is renowned for its incredibly fine and warm wool, called chatouche, which has led to its endangered status due to poaching. The yak, a central part of Tibetan life, provides not only meat, milk, and wool, but also serves as a pack animal and plays a crucial role in traditional festivals and rituals. Tibetan mastiffs, bred for centuries to guard livestock against predators like wolves and snow leopards, are revered for their loyalty, strength, and imposing presence. These dogs, with their thick double coats and robust build, are symbols of Tibetan resilience and are among the most expensive dog breeds in the world due to their rarity and pure lineage. 6. Polyandry in detail. An in-depth look at the practice of polyandry, explaining its social, economic, and familial benefits, and its decline due to modernization. Polyandry, particularly fraternal polyandry, where brothers share a single wife, has historically helped to keep family lands intact, reducing the need to divide property and ensuring economic stability in a harsh environment. This practice minimizes potential conflicts over inheritance and promotes a strong sense of collective responsibility within the family. Economically, polyandrous families tend to be more prosperous, as the combined efforts of multiple husbands lead to more efficient land use and better economic outcomes. Socially, this arrangement fosters close family ties and reduces competition among siblings. Despite these advantages, the practice of polyandry has declined due to factors such as economic modernization, land reforms, increased mobility, and exposure to external cultural norms. However, it remains a subject of interest for anthropologists and sociologists studying adaptive strategies in challenging environments. 7. Water resources. Tibet's role as a crucial water source for Asia is explored, detailing its significant rivers and high-altitude lakes, emphasizing its global impact. Known as the Water Tower of Asia, Tibet is the source of several major rivers, including the Yangtze, Yellow, Indus, Mekong, and Brahmaputra, which sustain billions of people across the continent. The glaciers and high-altitude lakes of Tibet, such as Lake Namso and Yamdrok Lake, are vital for maintaining the flow of these rivers, especially during dry seasons. Tibet's immense water resources not only support agriculture, industry, and drinking water needs, but also play a critical role in regional climate regulation and ecosystem health. The delicate balance of this water-rich region is crucial for the survival of diverse species and the well-being of human populations downstream. As climate change and geopolitical tensions increase, the management and preservation of Tibet's water resources are becoming ever more important on the global stage. 8. Black diamond apple. The unique black diamond apple, its exceptional qualities, and its status as a luxury fruit due to its rarity and growing conditions are discussed. Grown in the high altitudes of the Ningchi region in Tibet, the black diamond apple is distinguished by its deep purple, almost black skin, which results from intense ultraviolet light exposure at high elevations. This apple is not only visually striking, but also known for its juicy, sweet flesh with a perfect balance of sweetness and tartness. The challenging growing conditions, including the cold climate and limited production area, contribute to the apple's rarity and high price, often ranging from $7 to $20 per apple. These factors have earned the black diamond apple a reputation as a luxury fruit, highly sought after in gourmet markets and among connoisseurs. 9. Tibetan history. A historical overview from ancient times through the Tibetan Empire to the modern era, highlighting key developments and the influence of the Dalai Lamas. The origins of the Tibetan people trace back to the indigenous Bon religion and the ancient Zhangzhung culture, with significant historical records emerging in the 7th century with the introduction of the Tibetan script by Emperor Songtsen Gampo. Under his rule, Tibet saw the establishment of its first Buddhist temples and the expansion of its empire. The rise of the Tibetan Empire marked a period of significant influence and cultural development, including the integration of Buddhism into Tibetan society. From the 11th century onwards, monastic Buddhism flourished, with the establishment of numerous schools and monasteries that became centers of learning and cultural preservation. The Dalai Lamas emerged as both spiritual and temporal leaders, guiding Tibetan society through periods of prosperity and challenge. The 20th century brought significant changes, including China's assertion of control over Tibet in 1950 and the subsequent Tibetan uprising in 1959, which led to the Dalai Lama's exile and the establishment of the Tibetan government in exile. Throughout these historical developments, Tibet has maintained its rich cultural heritage and spiritual traditions, despite facing political and social upheavals. The ongoing Tibetan freedom movement and the preservation of Tibetan identity and traditions continue to be central themes in modern Tibetan history. 10. Chinese control and Tibetan resistance. The impact of Chinese control over Tibet, including the appointment of the Panchen Lama and the Tibetan government's exile, is analyzed. In 1950, the People's Republic of China asserted control over Tibet, leading to significant political and social changes. This control was solidified after the 1959 Tibetan uprising, which resulted in the Dalai Lama fleeing to India and establishing the Tibetan government in exile in Dharamshala. The Chinese government later appointed their own Panchen Lama in 1995, diverging from the Dalai Lama's choice, which led to international controversy and highlighted the ongoing struggle for religious and cultural autonomy. The imposition of Chinese governance has included efforts to suppress Tibetan culture, such as restrictions on religious practices, language and education, and the promotion of Han Chinese migration to Tibet. Despite these challenges, Tibetan resistance remains strong, with continued efforts to preserve their cultural heritage and seek international support for their cause. 11. Tibetan flag. The significance of the Tibetan flag, its symbolism, and the restrictions on its display within Tibet are explained. The Tibetan flag, often known as the snow lion flag, is a powerful symbol of Tibetan identity and resistance. It features two snow lions facing each other, holding a flaming jewel that represents spiritual and material wealth. Above them, a radiant sun with extending rays signifies freedom and the nurturing of all beings, while the blue rays symbolize the 10 directions of Buddhism. The golden border around the flag is associated with the spread of Buddhist teachings. Within Tibet, displaying the flag is prohibited, and possessing it can result in fines or imprisonment, as the Chinese government sees it as a symbol of separatism. However, for the Tibetan diaspora and supporters worldwide, the flag remains a potent emblem of their struggle for freedom and cultural preservation. 12. Storytelling tradition. The rich storytelling tradition of Tibet, including epic tales like King Gazar, is highlighted as a vital cultural element. Tibetan storytelling preserves history, moral values, and spiritual beliefs across generations. The Epic of King Gazar, recognized as the longest epic in the world, encapsulates the values and cosmology of Tibetan culture. These stories are often passed down orally and have been integral in maintaining a sense of identity and continuity within Tibetan society. Storytelling sessions, often accompanied by music and dance, are communal events that reinforce social bonds and cultural knowledge. These tales not only entertain but also educate, imparting lessons on bravery, compassion, and resilience. 13. Music and dance. An exploration of traditional Tibetan music and dance, emphasizing their roles in conveying moral lessons and preserving folklore. Tibetan music, characterized by its use of instruments like the draman, a 6-stringed lute, lingbu, flute, and various drums, plays a significant role in both religious and secular life. Chants and mantras are central to Buddhist practices, believed to bring spiritual benefits and aid meditation. Secular songs, often about love, nature, and daily life, reflect the cultural landscape of Tibet. Tibetan dance, ranging from the sacred cham dances performed by masked monks to more secular folk dances, is a vibrant expression of cultural identity. These dances are often performed during festivals and important ceremonies, serving not just as entertainment, but also as a means of preserving historical narratives and moral teachings. Each dance has specific meanings and stories, often depicting deities, historical events, or moral allegories. 14. Daily lives of monks and nuns. A look into the daily routines of Tibetan monks and nuns, including their debates, rituals, and the significance of astrologies in their lives. Tibetan monks and nuns lead disciplined lives centered around spiritual practice and communal activities. Their day typically begins before dawn with prayers and meditation, followed by communal meals. Debates, known as dargyur, are a vital part of monastic education, where monks engage in rigorous intellectual exchanges to deepen their understanding of Buddhist philosophy. These debates are lively and animated, often taking place in courtyards and attracting spectators. Rituals play a significant role in monastic life, including the creation of sand mandalas, which symbolize the impermanence of life, and the performance of pujas, ceremonial prayers, for various spiritual and communal purposes. Astrology, known as TC, is also integral, guiding decisions on auspicious times for events and rituals. Monks and nuns often consult detailed astrological charts for insights into personal and communal matters. Nuns, residing in nunneries, follow similar routines with additional emphasis on social service and education. Reflectin. 15. Sky burial. The unique and meaningful practice of sky burial, symbolizing the connection between life and death in Tibetan culture, is described. Sky burial, or jator, is a funerary practice where a deceased person's body is offered to vultures on mountaintop sites. This ritual stems from the Buddhist belief in the impermanence of life and the recycling of energy. Monks perform specific rites and prayers to prepare the body, which is then dismembered to facilitate consumption by the birds. This practice is seen as an act of generosity, allowing the soul to be released and the body to return to nature, thus completing the cycle of life and death. Sky burials underscore the Tibetan reverence for nature and the interconnectedness of all life forms. 16. Tibetan calendar and Losar festival. The importance of the Tibetan lunar calendar and the Losar festival, a significant celebration marking the Tibetan New Year, is detailed. The Tibetan lunar calendar is crucial for determining the timing of festivals, religious observances, and agricultural activities. Losar, which usually falls in February or March, is the most significant festival in Tibet, celebrating the start of the new year. Preparations for Losar begin weeks in advance, with homes thoroughly cleaned to remove negative energy and decorated with auspicious symbols. Families gather to make special foods, such as guthuk, a noodle soup with dumplings, and offer prayers for prosperity and happiness. Monasteries hold elaborate ceremonies, including cham dances and rituals, to invoke blessings for the community. The festival lasts up to 15 days, featuring fireworks, performances, and social gatherings that reinforce communal bonds and cultural heritage. 17. Drokpa nomads. The lifestyle of the Drokpa nomads, their seasonal migration, and their cultural significance are discussed. The Drokpa, or Tibetan nomads, lead a semi-nomadic lifestyle that revolves around herding yaks, sheep, and goats. Their migration follows a seasonal pattern, moving to higher pastures in summer and lower valleys in winter to ensure optimal grazing conditions for their livestock. This way of life requires extensive knowledge of the land and weather patterns. Drokpa tents, made from yak hair, are portable and well-suited to the harsh climate. Socially, the Drakpa maintain tight-knit communities with a strong emphasis on cooperation and mutual support. Their cultural practices include traditional crafts, such as weaving and leatherwork, as well as festivals and ceremonies that celebrate their connection to the land and animals. Despite modern pressures and environmental challenges, the Drokpa's resilience and adaptability continue to be a testament to their enduring cultural significance. 18. Tibetan farmers. An insight into the lives of Tibetan farmers, their agricultural practices, and the challenges they face from modernization and globalization. Tibetan farmers primarily cultivate barley, wheat, and potatoes, which are well suited to the high-altitude conditions of the Tibetan plateau. Barley, in particular, is a staple crop used to make sampa, a traditional food, and chang, a type of beer. Farming practices are labor-intensive and rely heavily on community cooperation. Traditional irrigation methods, such as using mountain streams, are common.